What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today, we're going to be going over the players to watch for the Buccaneers Week 17 matchup against the Carolina Panthers. The second time the Bucs are playing the Panthers. First time was that crazy game back in Week 13, went to overtime. Bucs looked like they were going to lose. Then the fumble happens. Bucs end up winning that game 26-23. Now Carolina comes to Tampa, and it's a big matchup, especially for Tampa Bay, as their playoff hopes here are starting to get down to the nitty-gritty, right? You're starting to get down to it. So in need of a win here following the loss against the Cowboys. But I am not alone today. Joining me is my CFP co-host, Mr. Rhett Matthew. Rhett, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. A little bit anxious for this game because, like you said, I don't think it can be understated the amount of pressure that is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game. We were talking with Des Johnson on our game preview this week, which is a great episode you should go check out. But the Panthers are in a situation where they would love nothing more than to just completely mess up this season for the Buccaneers. So a lot riding on this game this week, but it should be a good matchup.
I think so. And let's get right into it. Start off on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to start with the quarterback, Baker Mayfield, particularly because last year, in 2 games against the Panthers, did not perform very well, right? It wasn't like he lit the scoreboard up. Bucs won the division by beating Carolina last year 9-0. So didn't even score a touchdown last year in Carolina. And Baker Mayfield this past year in Week 13 struggled a little bit. Had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, struggled to really consistently move the ball. Bucs pretty much won that game because their running game. Baker Mayfield is going to be somebody to watch this week, specifically protecting the football, I think.
In a perfect world, Bucky Irving goes off this week and the Buccaneers can lean on the run game, which I think is a great formula for Baker to just take care of the football. When he's on, he's on. He's one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think if he can get a run game this week to help him out a little bit, that hot streak can continue for him.
Yeah, and speaking of the run game, I would have mentioned the Bucs run game. And I want to say run game because I didn't want to say Bucky Irving or Rashad White because I think it's both of them, right? Bucky Irving had that big day against Carolina, 25 carries for 152 yards, but Rashad White had a decent day too, 11 carries for 76 yards. And I Bleav he had the big run late in the overtime to set up the game-winning field goal. So let's not forget about the day Rashad White had there. Carolina's run defense has been bad, and it will continue to be bad probably for the rest of this season, and that's something the Bucs need to take advantage of. That's why I think the Bucs run game is something to keep an eye on here as well.
Yeah, their offense was out of rhythm last week, and I think a lot of that had to do with them getting away from running the football. I know they were playing from behind against Dallas, but the Cowboys are a team that has struggled against the run, and I think if they had mixed in a little more of Bucky Irving and or Rashad White, really either one of those guys after so long could have had more success than they did. That's going to be a huge factor this week. So lean on the run, cherish it, love it, because this Buccaneers run game has not looked this good in a very long time.
It has been a long time. So I would expect the Bucs to do that, though. I don't think they're going to deviate from that. At least they shouldn't. But one more on offense, we will say, and it is because of a couple of reasons. We're going to say Mike Evans. I know we're hitting all the basic ones, right? The quarterback, the run game, Mike Evans. Mike Evans had a big day last time these two teams played as well. Despite Baker Mayfield's struggles, Evans still had 8 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. So, and one of the other reasons I want to mention him is because as of right now, as of the recording of this video, J.C. Horn, the Carolina Panthers top corner, is listed as doubtful on the team's injury report. So doesn't seem like he's going to be out there, and that could be another opportunity for Mike Evans here to have another big day against Carolina.
Well, the Bucs are once again playing an prove-it game, and a game like this to prove that you are a playoff-level team in the NFL, you need your superstars to set up. So I don't think it's unreasonable to lean on a Baker Mayfield and even a Mike Evans this week to step up in the passing game. Had 118 yards the last time these two teams played. He also found the end zone. So I know that we just talked about the run game, but if they can complement this offense enough to allow Baker to just comfortably throw the football, Mike Evans still has the ability to take over a game and be one of the bigger targets for the Buccaneers through the air, and I think that happens this week.
Yeah, he certainly does, and I think they're going to try and get him the ball early and often, while not force feeding it to him, but I think they're going to make an effort to get him some touches early. So, with that being said, let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. We're going to talk about the defensive line, but we're going to talk about the edge rushers, and specifically Yaya Diaby. Diaby had a half sack last week against Dallas, but really hasn't had the sophomore season that a lot of people had hoped for. Kind of having that sophomore slump. Hopefully he can bounce back next season, but hopefully he can have a decent game in this one. Look, like the Bucs edge rushers just have not been good enough, right? This whole season they have not been good enough. 12 and a half sacks the Bucs have combined from Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea. Both those guys play inside, so the edge rushers just aren't really doing a ton of production there. And I think Yaya Diaby is a guy that could step up. So the Bucs, Anthony Nelson saved the day last time these two teams played, causing that fumble with Chuba Hubbard. I'm curious to see what Yaya Diaby has in store for this game.
Yeah, and Yaya Diaby, in the grand scheme of this 24 season, has been one of the better defensive linemen the Bucs have had when it comes to just pressuring the quarterback, pressuring the pocket. He's been doing well. It's just getting home. It's those sacks that you had talked about. It's stepping up and making the play, forcing the fumble when they need it to be made. We haven't entirely seen that from him. So you'd like for him to step up and, I would say, play a more complete game, especially after the sack total last year, the expectations that we had for him. He's been all right this year. Again, he's one of the better defensive linemen graded out when it comes to sheer pressure. He's just got to finish the job, and hopefully he can do that this week.
Yeah, and the last one we are going to say is another unit, but I think it covers a lot of ground here. So we're going to say the Buccaneers secondary, and it's because Todd Bowles confirmed that Antoine Winfield Jr. will miss this week's game, but the Buccaneers also plays Christian Izien on IR, so Izien will not be in this game as well. So again, down some guys. Now Jordan Whitehead did return to practice. Again, as the recording of this video, he's listed as questionable. Don't know if he's going to play. It might be a game time decision. So maybe Jordan Whitehead can return, and that would be a boost. But this Bucs secondary, simply has to play a little bit better, right? They weren't good enough against Dallas, and Bryce Young really lit them up, right? Bryce Young had a career, I'm not sure if it was a career high, but it was a season high at least in passing yards, I Bleav, against this Bucs team just a couple weeks ago. So the Bucs secondary, I think, is going to have to be on their toes in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you had said, more great news for this unit, more great injury news, which has been a trend for them this year. But next man up, you got to step up. And this is a unit that, despite being decimated by injuries this year, they've been porous. And I know that you're using spare parts, but these guys are still on an NFL team. So against a quarterback like Bryce Young, who really has been heating up, has had some of his more successful days against this Buccaneers secondary, that's without a doubt going to be a matchup to watch this week. And it could be a major exploit if the Carolina Panthers can get Bryce Young throwing the ball early. If he can play confident, it could be a long day.
Yeah, it definitely could be. So the secondary is going to have to be something that the Bucs fix and fix quickly, because while it's Carolina, they've been playing some pretty good football down the stretch here, and they're not a team to be overlooked. I understand they're 4-11. I get it, but it's still a divisional game. They're going to see an opportunity to play spoiler on your season, so I don't think it's something that the Bucs can overlook there. But let us know who you are going to be keeping an eye on, whether it's on offense or defense. We're always curious to hear what you guys think. But thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go Bucs.